Let's talk about Ging Freecss, the copy ninja. Get it? Like ninja? Let's get into it. First of all, huge shout out to Nitro who asked me about this today, and y'all can pause to read the entire thing. But Nitro essentially wants to know, since Gene is effectively mimicking techniques, what's stopping other people from trying that? So for context here, we are talking about how Ging Freecss is able to mimic somebody's technique after being struck with it once. We see him do this with Leorio's long distance punch, and not only does he copy that, but he improves upon it. And just to be clear here, his nin ability isn't to copy or steal other people's nin abilities like Crollo, for example. No, he's just doing this on pure talent alone. So Gene is proof that this type of mimicry is possible. So why haven't we ever seen anyone else do this? Not even other supremely talented nin users like Isaac Netero, for example. And I think this can boil down to two possibilities, and both may be true. The first is there could be something unique about Ging Freecss. Again, we have a whole video talking about if he could be like an anomaly of the nin system, maybe he's a specialist, whatever the case may be, there could just be something unique about Gene's particular nin that allows him to be a genius when it comes to mimicking other people. Maybe he's even made some sort of nin contracts that's reflected in that. Now, again, we could sit here and speculate for forever on what that might be, but it could be something in that realm, either with his nin or a specific contract or whatever that just allows him to be very adept at picking things up. That's possibility one. Possibility two is that he's just him. Why doesn't every basketball player copy Michael Jordan the way Kobe Bryant did? They can't. They aren't capable of it. So in the same way Bryant was just built different, Ging Freecss is built different. And I'm confident to say that it's at least option two, but it could also be option one as well. Creating an inability is hard unless you're Prince Sereidnik, but for most everyone else, it's going to take a lot of blood, sweat, tears, and intentionality. Because remember, people's abilities are often like a direct reflection of themselves. And that's because your own desires have to go into making this. And desire plays a huge role in nin. But the point is, you may not be capable of creating someone else's ability because it is such a reflection of them. That's not even to mention getting into like specific nin affinities and stuff. But let's say you did, like you were inspired by somebody and you're like, I want to make something like that. You certainly could, but it's probably not going to be the best spend of your time. And to showcase this, we really got to look no further than Castro, Hunter x Hunter's favorite cautionary tale, right? This man spent so much time and energy coming up with a technique to create a duplicate of himself that he never really sat back and asked, is this a good idea? Because yeah, he successfully did it, right? And maybe he was even inspired by seeing somebody else's double technique. So he did it, but again, it just wasn't the best use of his time as Hisoka showed him. But that's Castro, right? What about somebody like Netero? And I think it's certainly possible that maybe he could mimic certain techniques in the same way that Gene does. We do know that Gene says it needs to be a strike type attack. So it's not as if he can just mimic any nin technique out there, right? So maybe Netero would be good at picking up certain things that were like what his nin is, But I think it ultimately boils down to what are you going to focus on? What are you going to craft? We know that this man practiced the same punch hundreds of thousands of times, right? And that's what ultimately led him to creating the Bodhisattva statue. So like that's what he dedicated his time toward. In a hypothetical universe, could he have like perfected mimicking other people's stuff? Yeah, I think so. But, he's just a three-point shooter like Steph Curry compared to Ging Freecss being Kobe Bryant. That's at least my take on it with our current understanding. Ging Freecss is just him. He's built different. Top 5 nin user in the world, right? But I do think there's room to find out more that would maybe color our understanding of why he's capable of this. Whether it is something special with his nin or whether it is special with the specific ability he did craft, maybe some sort of nin contract. I think that's all on the table. But like I said earlier, I also think the answer is he's just that good.